G'day, how are you? I don't know if you guys realise, but somewhere in this building is a sleek and sturdy, especially chosen easel for holding these boards. I don't know where it is, so I'm going to make do. These convenience, I have no idea why these seats are here, but now we know. Before I start, before I show you some lo-fi boards at high fidelity, just want to acknowledge the Wurundjeri people of the Kulin Nation, pay my respects to their elders past, present and emerging. I'm going to be talking about change today. I think if you want to talk about change or learn about adaptability, probably consult the world's oldest continuous culture. Unfortunately, got a white guy with a haircut, so let's make do. I'm going to talk about why we exist as designers today. And it's pretty straightforward. Basically, the whole world is stuck with this perpetual tension between where we are and where we want to be. Can you guys see that over here or not? No? Bad sight lines? That would be way more interactive. Yeah, come on up. Hey! You're just putting on foundation as you make your way up, is that?
No, you can lotion.
Ah.
You need to be prepared.
All right, welcome to the stage, Miss Easel. How good you hold it up where everyone can see it. I might stick. Oh, you might have to hold multiple, but no. The problem is they can't see it. All right.
Here?
Is this your first time as an easel? Just right there.
There.
This isn't a bit, by the way. It's fast turning into one, thank you. So this is a challenge, right? We're stuck. The whole world is stuck. People, individuals, teams, organisations, communities, whatever, are stuck between where they are and where they want to be. And there's this unresolved tension that is really fucking hard to address, right? It's really hard to move from there to here because mindsets need to change, people need to change, processes need to change, technology needs to change. If it was easy, we would be here and life would be great, but we're not. It's like this kind of human condition, always reaching to go from there to where we are. And that's where we come in as designers. Our job is not to design things. It's not to empathise or like advocate for the double diamond or any of that bullshit they teach you in your 12-week course. Our job, all right, can you do this? Is to deliver the change. No, come on, mate. Enough flourish, is to deliver the change that is going to move people from where we are to where we need to be, right? And we're good at it, right? Even if you haven't thought about that's our job, you're doing it, you are good at it, right? And that's great because right now our industry is transforming, it's being disrupted, right? There's a whole lot of shit that's going on that's making a lot of us really fucking nervous about what's going to happen in the next few years, right? I'll do the jokes, all right? And so we're good at changing other people. We're not so good at changing ourselves, right? There's this great quote by Peter Senge, who's this famous systems thinker who can actually explain systems, which is refreshing. He says, people don't resist change, they resist being changed. And so the thing is, with all this transformation that's going to go on in our industry in the next few years, we can either have the change forced upon us, or we can take a proactive role in changing in the way that works for us, that we want to. And that's what I'm going to talk about today. I've got 4 pretty basic models. Help me, help my team. You maybe put it down. You can chill out a bit. Navigate the change. That's ahead. Let's get into it. All right. Yeah, you can drop those. Thanks. I want to start by talking about our dirty little secret. You know, we run these workshops. We have these projects where we tell people they've got to chill out. Don't think about the solution yet. No, we're not thinking about ideas. Put them in the parking lot. Chuck them in the esky, mate. Meanwhile, we've got a pretty fucking good idea to solve this problem, don't we? We don't talk about it, but it's there. But then what happens as the project progresses, right? We start to uncover all these constraints. The boss hates it. We haven't got the money. Customers don't rate it. Technology won't support it. Stakeholder just doesn't really like you. And so we trim away all this extraneous stuff from our original idea. But what we end up with is this tiny little thing, right? It's the smallest possible, plausible, feasible, desirable, viable, sustainable thing that we need to make the change from where we are to where we want to be, right? So it's with this mindset of kind of seeking out and absorbing and embracing these constraints, we very quickly get to this point with our work. Thing is, this works for us as well, right? Because we also have this beautiful, perfect idea of us as designers. You know, it's got edges, it's got features, it's awesome. It's unvalidated, but it's pretty good, right? But now technology is starting to cleave some of those things that make us designers away, right? You know, there's now a plugin that does 50% of your job. There's a button that does a third, right? There's all these new whiz-bang gadgets, gizmos, companies, organizations, all this shit that is cutting away all this stuff that we used to cherish as designers. And like, yes, you are really good at reformatting a table, right? You are one of the best, but probably not a necessary skill in the future, right? And so the idea is that if we can embrace the constraints being thrown up by technology, see it not as a thing that's eating away at who we are, but actually helping us refine our understanding of who we are, we end up with the only plausible, feasible, desirable, sustainable bit of our identity as designers that is going to move us from where we are to where we want to be. And the great thing about that is once you can identify that, kind of find your voice as a designer, then all these tools and gadgets that everyone else is using, all this technology that people are leveraging for their job, you have a much clearer idea of what makes you unique, you individual. And so all of a sudden you can use all this other technology in order to deliver what you do best, but at a greater scale. So that's kind of like, think about that. That's a thing. You can get rid of that. Thank you. I kind of like, these conferences are good, right? But you end up listening to a bunch of people with microphones thinking, oh, fuck, I really need to be better at my job. You know, and you like aggregate all these different individuals who are very good at one thing. Then you turn them into this one person, you stand next to them, you kind of feel a bit shit about yourself as a designer. I think that's good, right? Because it kind of makes us want to get better. But also, it kind of distracts us from what we need to do, right? Because as things are changing, we are going to need to change, but we don't need to change relative to some idiot on TikTok who's sending out design tips 6 times a day on a Tuesday, right? He's unemployed. You don't need to compete with him, all right? The things we need to compete with are actually the forces that are impacting our work, right? I think a lot about how we design and what we design and think about what are the forces that are impacting those, because they're the things that we need to compete with or evolve with. Relative to ourselves. And you guys know the 2x2, we kind of do impact effort. You've seen these things for prioritizing ideas or whatever. I like to think about the things that are impacting our industry through this lens. Maybe this is useful, maybe it's not, but you think about like, I know we've been talking about sustainable design a lot. Right now, most of us, it's not really a big part of what we do, not really impacting how we work or what we design. AI, yeah, it's kind of starting to nudge away at the things we design and the way we design. Maybe privacy and security, right? It's not really impacting what we design. It does make us think a bit more about how we design. So that's where they sit, right? Then we think about, right, where are these things going? All right, sustainability, it's going to be legislated soon. Far out. Let's get it up there. That's something we're going to need to worry about. AI, fuck yes. That goes right up there. What was the first one? Privacy, security, increasing concern, right? So now I can see sort of the lay of the land in terms of the things that are going to impact how we design and what we design. And then I can think about where do I sit relative to these things? How capable am I? Right now, probably not that good. Had a bunch of those. That's all right. But then where do I want to be? Where do I want to position myself in, say, 3 years' time? Probably closer up here. So now we understand where we are and where we want to be, not relative to the idiot on Dribble who's fucking posting cool ways to design a coaster or something. now we can think about the actual forces that are actually impacting our industry, and it gives us a better understanding relative to those things, how we need to change. So that's an easier, I think a more useful way to think about the things that are affecting what we do. Yep, Dunzos. How long have I got? Oh, shit sticks. All right. Andrew was talking about workshops before. Outputs and outcomes are a really good way to think about what we design, especially in something like a workshop. You know, you go into a workshop where you've got to deliver a mission statement, you're failing, right? It's very easy to fail at that, right? People don't agree, people are late, power goes out, whatever it is. You don't get to tick that box. You don't get to deliver that thing. The outcomes of building alignment, right? Getting people aligned on what the thing could be, where we could go, what are the attributes of a good mission or vision. They're much easier to do because you can flex and move and change. I sent a survey out to my team a little while ago, asking them, where do you want to be in 5 years? And a bunch of them came back with responses like, I want to be a lead UX designer. I want to be, leading UI design at Canva. It's a bit of a kicker to your boss, but also wrong mentality, not just razzing me, but thinking about this exact thing that you want to be, right? Because maybe Canva goes out of business, maybe UI goes out of vogue, maybe lead becomes an imperialist term and no one hires like that anymore, right? But if what you want to do is work for a progressive organization, make beautiful things, empower your users, use your brain, right? All of a sudden, you've got all these different ways that you're trying to achieve this thing that you kind of understand, but you're thinking about it in a way that gives you a lot more flexibility. When things change, when bits of our job get cleaved off, or the economy decides that only 20% of us are going to be able to work, maybe I don't need a job that starts with the word designer. There's a whole lot of different ways that we can still achieve that outcome instead of trying to tick this exact box here. Cool. All right, she's nodding. She's into it. That's good. Am I out of time? I don't know what that says. Yeah, cool. All right. There's a giant screen with numbers here, just so you know. All right. So we all, fuck off. We all, it's not just our work that's going to change, not just the things that we design that are going to change. The other thing that's going to change is the kind of roles that are possible or the things that get advertised. You know that feeling when you're reading through a job ad, you don't even get through it and you're like, well, I'm definitely not qualified. By the time you are finished, you're like, well, I don't actually think I'm any good at the current job that I've got. The problem is, I think, we live in this agile world, right? We think really sequentially. And when we're looking to make that leap into the next thing, we're just gathering the evidence from where we are and thinking about what can I do next, right? Which kind of sucks because if you're looking to leave a job, you're probably not thriving, right? When we think in this sequential way, we're really limited in the confidence that we can have in our own skills, in our own experiences. So I think instead of this like snake, if you think about your career more like a layer cake, all of a sudden, I've got some more, right? So all of a sudden your jobs are not just one thing that you've done recently, but all the things you've ever done. And not just your work, right? Maybe you spent a summer in another country and you learnt how to be a fish out of water. Maybe you, had a bad breakup and had to pull yourself up from the ground. Whatever it is, we all do these amazing things that kind of speak to our experience, that create this amazing layer cake of evidence that actually we can draw on and we can slice it in different ways depending on what that next leap is. And so instead of thinking about, well, I'm a UX designer, the only thing I can do is something with UX design, all of a sudden I can cut through my whole life, analyze the things that I've done that I'm proud of or that have changed me or that have empowered me. And they become the evidence base that give you the confidence and hopefully the job interview to get that next role when things do change. No, that was my summer camp job. That sucked. All right, yeah, that's it. They're the 4 models. Thank you, Easel. It's been a pleasure. Thank you. Yeah, I talk about these, like they feel a bit dumb, but basically, like either change is going to happen to us or we're going to be able to actively change in the way that we want to change. Feels like small things, but if we can start to think about things differently, it gives us a whole lot more hope and a whole lot more agency in the things that we can potentially do in our career and in our lives. yeah, we all work on big complex projects, but we are the biggest, gnarliest design project we're ever going to have. So hope this helps. Go and kick it in the dick. See you later.